All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about the messy, complicated world where love and money collide. You've all heard that saying, love is blind, right? Well, when it comes to your wallet, that kind of blindness is a one-way ticket to disaster. The truth is, a serious relationship these days is basically a business partnership. So we're going to break down how to handle the money side of things without getting completely wrecked. And this right here is the absolute truth. You might be totally lost in your partner's eyes, but I guarantee you, your rent, your car payment, your student loans, they all have perfect 20/20 vision. They can see every single cent leaving your account with terrifying precision. So this brings us to a huge mindset shift. You've got to stop thinking about your relationship like a fairy tale and start seeing it for what it is, a joint venture. It's a merger, and in any successful business, both partners have to be pulling their weight for the whole thing to grow. If one person is constantly carrying the financial load, the entire foundation starts to crack. And trust me, if you let these money problems slide, the outcome is never good. It's basically the bad ending from a video game like Dark Souls. You end up broke, drained, and totally alone, all because of some serious financial mismanagement. So let's get into the 5 major mistakes that can absolutely tank a relationship. First up, we have the modern-day virus I like to call flexing couple goals. You know what I'm talking about. It's that constant pressure to put on a show, to perform this perfect, happy, and super expensive-looking life for a bunch of people on the internet who, let's be real, don't even know you. Look, you have to understand the fundamental difference here. When big-time celebrities or influencers flex their lifestyle, it's a business. They're making money off of it. But for the rest of us, it's the exact opposite. We're the ones spending our hard-earned cash on fancy dinners and new clothes just to get a few likes. In that game, you're not the business owner, you're just free content, and your bank account is footing the bill. Just think about the trade-off for a second. That little hit of validation you get from a social media post, it's gone in 24 hours. Poof, like an Instagram story. But that hole you burned in your wallet to get that validation, that can be permanent. You're literally trading long-term financial security for a temporary digital ego boost that can't pay your rent. Okay, let's move on to financial enemy number 2, the parasite. This one often hides behind this old-school idea called the sincerity test. It's this completely outdated belief that one person in the relationship, usually the guy, is supposed to pay for absolutely everything. Come on, unless you're living in the 1920s, that rule just doesn't fly anymore. So you really have to ask yourself a hard question. Are you being treated like a respected partner, or are you just a walking ATM? If your partner expects you to pay for everything from dinner to their shopping sprees, but they bring nothing to the table in return, not even emotional support, then you've got a serious one-sided problem. So how do you fight this? Well, the best strategy actually comes from an unlikely source, the anime Fullmetal Alchemist. It's the law of equivalent exchange. To get something, you have to give something of equal value in return, and that applies perfectly to relationships. A truly healthy partnership is all about fair mutual exchange. Let me break it down even simpler. A supportive partner, they contribute what they can. Maybe it's money, maybe it's emotional support, maybe it's just helping out around the house. A financial parasite, on the other hand, only takes. They demand you cover 100% of the costs while they contribute absolutely nothing, draining you until there's nothing left. All right, next up, the third way we sabotage ourselves financially, the monthly extortion racket known as the Montiversary. Seriously, this idea of celebrating your anniversary every single month has got to be one of the dumbest subscription plans ever invented. If you just look at this with cold, hard logic, it's a perfect example of the law of diminishing returns. The first time you give a big, expensive gift, sure, there's real joy. The second time, it kind of becomes an expectation. And by the third time, if that gift isn't as good or even better, you're looking at disappointment and maybe even a fight. You're creating an endless cycle of escalating expectations you can never win. And this is where it gets really toxic. These gifts stop being about love and start being about something else entirely. They become protection money, a fee you have to pay just to keep the peace. That's not romance. That's a transaction based on fear. Now for our fourth mistake, and this one is just pure self-sabotage. Giving your partner a pity loan. Loaning someone money because you feel sorry for them is one of the fastest ways to lose both your cash and your relationship. I mean, here's the brutal reality of a pity loan. The chance of that money leaving your bank account? 100%. The chance of it ever coming back? Pretty darn close to 0. In this situation, you're not a lender. You're just a very generous donor to the National Foundation for Getting Played.
So what's your defense? It's simple, a written contract. No loans without putting it down on paper. And you need to pay very close attention to how they react. If asking for a simple agreement makes them angry or offended, that is a massive red flag. It almost certainly means they never, ever planned on paying you back in the first place.
And here we are, the final boss, the absolute peak of all financial mistakes, the scam of the future investment. This is when you do something incredibly risky, like buying a major asset together, a car, a house, before you are legally married. Let me be absolutely crystal clear about this, because it's not an opinion, it's a cold, hard legal fact. For an unmarried couple, there is pretty much no such thing as relationship assets in the eyes of the law. The rules for splitting things up usually only apply to married people. If you break up, the law might have zero power to help you get back the money you poured into an asset that's not legally yours. And that's the gut-wrenching difference between how you see it and how it really is. You think you're a majority shareholder investing in a shared future. But in reality, without legal protection, you're just a generous donor to your ex's future lifestyle, a lifestyle they might one day be enjoying with somebody else. You do all the work, they get all the rewards. So just like in The Matrix, you have a choice. You can take the blue pill, you can keep being a love fool, paying the price for being naive and eventually end up broke, or you can take the red pill. You can wake up, see things for what they are, and find a real partner, a true ally who will fight right alongside you to build a secure future. So I'll just leave you with this one last question. I want you to take a good hard look at your bank statements, and then take an even harder look at your relationship. You have to decide, is your partner an asset that's helping you build a better future, or a liability that's just slowly draining you dry? The game is over once you know the answer.